Hello and welcome to this video. I simply call this video Scarcity, and I would consider it more a philosophical debate rather than really introducing you to a new theory or something like this. So I think the first question which we ought to ask here is, what do you really, or what do we really need essentially for a good life? And only then, when we have answered this question, what essentially do we need? And I leave it up to you. I don't want to put in your head what you need. It's up to you. Then I think we can explore what are the things needed for it. So what are the goods and services needed? And is there a scarcity of them? So you remember the idea of economics. There were some definitions which go something like it's about the allocation of scarce resources. With this video, I want to bit doubt whether the resources are really scarce, and there are several economists out there who doubt that question. Remember how in the neoliberal theory we learned that this economic system actually needs sad people, and sad people then consume in order to be more happy. So let's have a look at a few goods which we all need and briefly see whether they're really scarce or not. So let's start from food. We all need food, no? So and without going into much academic debate, there are hundreds of articles out there. It's proven hundreds of times over. We already grow enough food for 10 billion people and still can't end hunger. So this has been the post of the Huffington Post in December 14. So we know that we have already enough food out there, that high percentages of food are wasted every day. The number is tremendous. Just have a look at it. So we have an allocation problem, but we don't have a scarcity problem here. Food is not scarce. The Malthusian theory has been proven wrong. We have enough food available, just we don't manage to distribute it correctly among people. So I would claim there is no scarcity of food. We have a problem with distributing it. My claim is not alone. So this is Nobel laureate Amartya Sen. He is from Indian Bangladesh background. He is a professor at MIT, and he received he's a Nobel laureate in economic sciences. And he has done a lot of incredibly work, and if you anyhow intended or interested in international development, then you should really have a look at what is he saying about what is development, something I decided to drop from this course because of the length reason. And he said no famine ever has taken place in the history of the world in a functioning democracy. So for him, famine is always a problem, that there is something wrong in the distribution of food which is there. It's not democratically distributed. And I haven't found any evidence, any article really showing that this statement is wrong. But let's go to another topic. Let's look at housing. Housing is something I'm not so deeply into, but again, also here I have been reading articles and news saying we have actually more than enough space available for living. First of all, how big do we live? No, we all live on much more space than we ever had before. So all of us have become more comfortable, and that's good so. But in addition, also there is so much unused living space. I just look outside here, out of my window. I'm living in a beautiful mountainous region, and here there are plenty of holiday chalets, etc., etc. We have villages which have 10 times as much beds for holidays as they have inhabitants. So we do have more than enough living space on this planet for everyone, I would claim, no? Just think about the occupying house movements in Germany. So again, here I see also that there is kind of an artificial creation of scarcity. So we would have enough housing available. The question is again about allocation. Let's look at a different topic. Music, for example, or arts in general, no? So with this whole copyright thing, we are creating artificial scarcity. Hold on, you will say, it's all about that the artists who have created and put their life effort is getting the money. Yes, no. Well, if you really look into all these collecting societies and labels and so on, very often they have contracts where the full right actually goes over to the big publishing houses. And in music, as those of you who are from the music scene, you will be able to confirm that only like 4 or 5 labels, and they cash in everything. So this is a monopoly happening there. And the artists, well, they can survive from it, but actually the big benefitors of copyright, I would say, are in the end the big labels and not so much the artists. And if you have, for example, something we'll deal with in the next chapter, something like a universal basic income, then you can make music for free and you don't have to have like 1,000 euro, 2,000 euro earned from music every month. So I think that we are creating artificial scarcity here. The system does not, it might serve a few artists, but it doesn't serve the majority of the artists, I would say. And things such as the Creative Commons, like if you don't know about this, check them out. Creative Commons is an alternative to say, okay, you can have your tag on something, but it's not about the money. You can, if you created this piece of music, well, you should be, same like in academics, you should be the one who gets like the recognition for it. Absolutely. But then it is free to be shared and multiplied. And that's just something the Creative Commons, for example, have been picking up. One very interesting book on this topic, whether scarcity will outgrow itself, is has been published by Jeremy Rifkin. I have only been like glimpsing into it till now, but it basically says something like we tend to a zero marginal cost society, saying that music can be reproduced at zero marginal cost, and we only put like a artificial scarcity on top of it. We tend that all products slowly start to be able to be reproduced in a zero marginal cost. Just imagine, like, I would be visionary and saying 20, 30 years from now, maybe all households have 3D printers, which can be filled with the leftover plastic waste, and we can produce most of the household goods ourselves using this 3D printer. I'm just claiming that it's not reality now, but you see in which direction this thing is going, saying we have everything, we have all the raw materials, we just have a distribution problem, no? Another thing, mobility. Mobility, you would claim, but yes, there are like only like 300 people can sit in a plane, and how do we handle this? Well, also here is the question, how do we define mobility, and are there other ways to come from A to B? Like, does everyone have to fly? And is it, for example, possible also, like, because trains are, well, there are some high times where trains are also full, but very often trains go empty, no? And if we have a different society where one is more flexible on traveling, also, maybe you're not like bound to travel exactly on Sunday evening, but you can travel at any other time also, then I think that there is plenty of available possibilities to come from A to B nowadays, not even to talk about the beauty that you could cycle from A to B, which is almost the environmental friendly, of course. But again, I think also here we do not really have a scarcity, or maybe just occasionally, and then we would find different ways of distribution. Or tools, for example, you know, like how, have you ever thought about how many hammers there might already be produced? I mean, go inside a supermarket or construction supermarket, Lagerhaus, a Bauhaus, in German we say. I don't have the right word in English now. So there are so many hammers. I think we have enough hammers for everyone on this planet, I assume, no? And if not, there is enough material. Like, we could share them. There are ideas out there to say, okay, let's have a library of these household goods, no? Not everyone needs to have his own axe or hammer. Like, you can if you need, because you use it every day. But if you once in a year only use a hammer or a screwdriver or whatsoever, you could just borrow it from the library and bring it back as well. So I think also here we do have enough. And I could continue with this. I just wanted to bring you on track how scarcity is something which we perceive, but it's not necessary. It can become a reality if you perceive it like this, but you can also get out of this thinking of scarcity and come into a thinking of abundance. Brings me to the last thing where I personally am still having the feeling this is the only thing which might be really scarce, which is time. And also here it's a question of perception. Maybe some of you, the ones with a German background, might recognize this picture. This is was a novel in the 1980s, 1990s of a girl called Momo. And Momo was fighting against the bad gray guys who stole the money, stole away the time, and she tried to bring back the time to the people. So I think for me, this is the only thing which I would consider saying it could be scarce the way we are organized now. But then again, think about what we have learned in the monetary system and how every consumption we have is including 30% interest. So you could also reframe that and saying, if we would find an economic model in which we are able to allocate resources without interest, This means I would have to work 30% less of my time in order to have exactly the same living standard as now. And I'm not even talking about reducing any of the quality of life. Just saying, if you just take out interest rate of this thing, if you would not pay for every 1,000 euro or 300 euro interest anymore, you would be able to survive with 600 euro, no? 600 or 700 euro. So you could work 2/3 of the time only. So you could also gain time. You see where I'm going? So eventually it all boils down to me again to saying, what is the need? What is the need I have? What do I need? I need to travel from A to B. And what is the satisfier I can have for this? So imagine we would have more time. Imagine all of us only have to really work for 20 hours in a week. And we could maybe spread this. We could find a way how we could spread this and saying, okay, I work for 10 months in a year, and for 2 months in a year I can have holidays. Or I don't have to, let's not put it holidays. For 10 months in a year, I go and have my paid work. And for 2 months in a year, I actually can contribute to society where I want. And if this is saying I want to have leisure time, that's also fine. But if you want to volunteer during this time, it's also fine. Or if you want, you spend your time saying you sail across the ocean to your next surfing trip, because you have the time to be for 1 week in a sailboat, then enjoy 3 weeks of being surfing in Hawaii, and then again sail back for 10 days. Imagine how society could change. So what is the need? The need is mobility, the need is leisure time. What is the satisfier? Does it have to be the plane which brings you there for a week and the plane which brings you back again and you barely have come out of jet lag? You see where I'm heading? I hope to have given you some inspiration with this this video, and leave you with questions saying, for how many products, if you start to look at it like that, is there really still a scarcity? And what would happen if you would perceive the world being in abundance? I hope you have enjoyed that video. Thanks for watching.